Well, we might just have to skip the open, Dave.
Yeah, for some reason, Open's not working. Welcome into the Sports Objective, the unofficial podcast of the Pirates and the original one. We've been doing it for 4 years now. Welcome into the show, Kyle Barber. How are you, sir?
What's going on, Dave? Little sneezy and sinusy this morning.
I'm ready for you right now. I'm with you. That's what I'm trying to say. And we have a lot to talk about. Championship Saturday, a couple games last night. Do you want to talk about those? One was a thriller, a really good game in Conference USA, and the Pac-12 was one you could have fallen asleep and you didn't have to watch. That's
I
my.
didn't watch Pac-12
I didn't
championship
watch
game. I
that.
kept up with the score. I saw it was one-sided with Utah dominating Oregon. Watched Conference USA championship game on CBS Sports Network. By the way, their media deal is atrocious. That's what destroyed that league. The fact that your conference championship game is on CBS Sports Network, and CBS Sports Network does a good job. It's just they're not available.
Right.
Some markets are not available at all. In other markets, you got to have a high-end package on your cable or satellite, or at least a mid-tier package. You can't get it on the basic tier. And that's the problem with CBS Sports Network. Anyway, great game, though, between Western Kentucky and UTSA. UTSA wins by 8. Western Kentucky the third quarter, there was 2 plays in the third quarter, a muff punt, and then a pick that the UTSA scored on, and then very next possession, a pick six. And that was the difference in the game. And UTSA wins by 8. Western Kentucky was getting blown out at one point after those 2 back-to-back touchdowns in the third and fought their way back into the game. They got a great quarterback, Zappa, who transferred there, I believe, from Houston Baptist, along with their offensive coordinator. They run an air raid style offense, and a lot of fun to watch. UTSA drew around 41,000 there to the dome there in San Antonio, and so that's good for the American going forward. UTSA coming in while it's a bit of a distance from East Carolina. They've signed their coach up long term for just under $3 million a year.
Yep.
They got a lot of money. They play there in the Alamo Dome. I know to get it out in a minute. Play the Alamo Dome, and they draw well. They draw really well. The people in San Antonio have almost embraced UTSA football like an expansion NFL team. The only pro sports team, that's the 7th biggest city in America, and the only pro sports team is the Spurs. And when UTSA came up to FBS football, when they were winning initially, they drew well. Then the crowds dropped off, and now they're winning again at a high level. They're drawing really well. 41,000 in there last night to watch. UTSA beat Western, and congratulations to the Roadrunners on winning Conference USA and going 11-1. Only loss was a regular. Imagine that. You go 11-1, you win your conference championship, and your only loss was the regular season finale to North Texas. And the reason is, obviously you want to go undefeated as you can, but had they not lost that game to North Texas, they'd be in position right now, along with San Diego State, that if Cincinnati loses to Houston, perhaps to get the New Year's Six spot for the group of 5. Now, obviously, Houston would be a contender too, but UTSA losing that game to North Texas that rules them out.
Yeah, and they've got a great program, and it also signals to me that if UTSA can do it, then obviously with our fan base, the way we are, no excuses not to bust on the fan base, but we've got to get to, what was it? We were averaging what, Kyle, a few years ago, up until the Mo area and pandemic.
Yeah, I think it's apples. I think the comparison's apples to oranges. Our fan base was loyal fan base that had been around for a while, and I think we just lost a lot of them. And hopefully they'll come back. I think what's going on with UTSA is, like I said, San Antonio is a big city, 7th biggest city in America, and there's no other, besides the Spurs, there's nothing else in town in terms of sports teams. A lot of other things to do, Riverwalk, etc. It's a beautiful city, but no other sports team. So like I said, I think they've kind of embraced that football program as almost like an NFL expansion team. So but our fan base does need to step it up. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to view things, Greenville is not the size of San Antonio.
And Kyle, Bubba is actually working with his son Riley today. Very impressed with the atmosphere at the Alamo Dome. Definitely, Bubba. I tell you what, we can do it. That's the good news, is that it's something that we can fix. And I know that with the tickets next year, season tickets, I think we need to shoot for. Hopefully, we can get closer to. We need more of a 18,000 than.
We're going to shoot for as many as we can get, but I think next year home schedule is great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying with NC
Then
State,
we
ODU.
we talked about this, I think, off the air, but I would not raise season ticket prices very much.
No,
I know we have 7 home games next year, so they're going to be up a little bit, I guess. But and you got NC State coming to town, so your thoughts are, well, we can raise ticket prices, but I wouldn't do it much because we need to sell tickets. And
that's the thing is you can get if you can get. You'd rather have a sellout of 51,000 versus having 40,000, obviously. And if you raise ticket prices, those average fans, the fans that are fair weather fans, the casual fans of college football that want to see a good game or an ACC versus East Carolina game, those kind of people, they're people that I know personally that buy season tickets just because of the non-conference schedule. So that's a big deal. Bubba brings up another point to make today for a reason to do the show, not only because of championship Saturday, but obviously, how about that, Kyle? Dave Nickel leaving Mississippi State to join Lincoln Riley at USC.
yeah, if you look at Ruffin's last staff here that was ran off, and people said Ruffin couldn't do it without Lincoln, and he didn't know what he was doing, et cetera, et cetera. When you look at it, Dave Nickel, has been at Mississippi State. Now he's going to USC. Our O-line coach, who was in year 1 then, Brad Davis, is the interim head coach for LSU in their bowl game. He's been the O-line coach at LSU this year. Prior to that, O-line coach at Arkansas. I can go on and on and on. Ruffin's last staff was fantastic. We were just in transition of talent. We didn't have a quarterback.
That was a killer right there.
Yeah. I'd like to see what Dave Nickel in year 2, if they were given the opportunity, what Dave Nickel could have done with a real quarterback. And it's not an insult on what we had. It was what it was. But, I'd like to see what Dave Nickel could have done with a real quarterback and what Brad Davis could have done building that O-line, because clearly that was a way better hire than what people realized. That dude's been coaching in the SEC now pretty much ever since. And so anyway, but good luck to Coach Nickel out at USC. He's probably about to get a nice pay raise. Not that Mississippi State is a bad job, but they ain't got USC money.
That's the thing, man. USC has so much money, and they're going to be very, very good. And I mean, it's amazing how people want to talk trash about Lincoln Riley, but the bottom line is USC has more money than Oklahoma, and they have obviously more resources. And guess what, Kyle? He does a great job recruiting LA and California. Those guys, instead of going to Clemson and Alabama and all over the place in Oklahoma, they'll be coming to USC now. They're going to stay home.
Well, the trash you're talking to about people I still hadn't seen that, but again, I don't listen to national media as much as you do. No, Lincoln, obviously, anybody would take it. Nikki, please shut up. If you want to participate on the podcast, ask next time. If anybody that was offered a job making $110,000 a year is going to take it. $110,000 a year, Jesus Christ. Anybody offered a job with a contract of $110 million is going to take it. And I don't know. Lincoln's put together a good staff. I think he'll dominate the Pac-12. I'm not sure it'll be day one, but I think over about a 2 to 3 year period, he'll take over things in the Pac-12, and it'll be. I don't know if it'll be exactly like the USC days when Pat Carroll was there, but I see them winning the Pac-12 on a regular basis.
Yeah, and we were talking about earlier in the group chat, but it's like if you look at the SEC, they could easily go 7-5, 8-4 on the SEC. And it's not that they have a bad team, but you look at the Pac-12 and Washington, Oregon, Utah is very good. There's a few teams, but it's not like the SEC where a lot of teams are very good. I mean, South Carolina's better. Florida's going to be better.
Pac-12's been down the last several years, and I think that has a couple of reasons to do with that. I think one is a lot of the talent is leaving the area for the SEC, Big Ten, a lot for the Big Ten. And I think another reason is I think a lot of people are leaving the West Coast, so there's not as much talent out there. I mean, leaving as in terms of moving away. So I think the Pac-12 will continue to probably be down, but that's just it's still a Power Five conference. It's still a high-profile conference. USC is still one of the most high-profile jobs in all of college football, and they made a commitment this time to finally go after a big name, which I've kind of wondered why USC has done some of the things they've done over the last few years with their hires since Pete Carroll left.
Yep.
This is clearly a let's go for broke. Let's hire the best coach we can get. Let's offer him the moon and see what happens. And I think they'll be pleased with the results.
No doubt about it. Kyle, we want to talk about bowl games. Obviously, who will the Pirates play? We'll probably find out. We probably will not find out. That's what I'm trying to say today. It'll more likely be tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I had muted myself. I needed to blow my nose, but yeah, it'll be tomorrow. I mean, it's possible we could find out today. I doubt it. We may have a really good unofficial idea later today. Things seem to be trending in the direction of Virginia. I don't want that in general. I would not have a problem playing Virginia, particularly the way they finished the season. But with it being Bronco Mendenhall's last game, and he's
they have a really good
sense of purpose. It's retiring. Players love him. We dealt with this crap the last time we played in the Military Bowl. That was Ralph Reed's last game.
That's right.
Yeah, and saw what happened. So I'm not saying that's going to necessarily happen again. We got some say in that, but I can tell you those players for Virginia, I doubt many of them will sit out, if any, with it being Bronco's last game, and I think they'll play their asses off for him. So I'd rather not deal with that. I'd rather play Virginia Tech or BC. But it'll be what it'll be. If it's the Wahoos, then we're just going to have to go out there and play our tails off and be more intense than them and find a way to get win number 8. And another thing, look, this is hard to believe, and this is one of those things that just where the truth is stranger than fiction. Mike Houston in year 3, despite taking us to a bowl in 7 games this year, Scotty Montgomery had 2 wins over the Power 5 by this point, and Coach Houston has 0. It's strange as that is. So this is an opportunity for Coach Houston to get his first win at East Carolina over a Power 5 school. So I'm sure he wants to get that done because God knows East Carolina has a reputation of beating ACC schools, and I'm sure Coach Houston wants his name up there on one of those wins over an ACC team.
By the way, Bubba chiming in about our defense. He says our defense is slightly better, talking better than 2010's defense.
Well, Bubba, air would have been better than 2010's defense. Like a good breeze that could have knocked the ball down would have been better than 2010's secondary. Holy crap, what a terrible defense. We'd have had a mediocre defense, just a subpar defense in 2010. We'd have won 8 games. No, I agree with you, Bubba. I mean, I'm not saying just because Bronco Mendenhall's last game that we don't have a chance against Virginia. God knows we do. It's just it's like playing Navy on Senior Day. It's just another added incentive for them to play harder and pull out trick plays and do everything they can to win for Bronco. Just like we saw at Navy on Senior Day. Now, we had the same results as we did at the Military Bowl as we did the last time we were up there with Navy on Senior Day, and then that'll be fantastic.
We had a chance to, Kyle, we had a chance to talk to John Lacer, play-by-play voice of the Virginia Tech Hokies. We were talking about bowl games and so much more, and we actually have the entire interview is on YouTube. Exclusively on YouTube, and we're going to play a couple clips. Here's the first one for you to watch and comment on. Let's do that right now. Excited about bowl season and excited about.
Those are super fast clips. I don't think anybody got anything out of that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to I'll try it one more time to see if I can. Excited about. It's not doing it. All right. Well, you can watch
it. That interview on YouTube.
John Lacer on YouTube. Yeah. download John Laser, play-by-play voice of the Hokies. In fact, he doesn't. I won't say where he thinks they will go because I want you to watch and listen to the interview. But he doesn't think the Pirates will be playing. They thought the same thing, Kyle. But it looks like they may be going to another bowl. That's all I'm going to say. So you can watch that. But regardless, the good news is, Kyle, we're getting extra practices in. Very excited about that. Plus, we have a chance to do something special here by winning the first bowl game we've had, and going back to 2013.
Yeah, 13 was the last time we won a bowl game. Last bowl game we played in was in January of 15. The
Right.
last bowl game we won was the Beef O'Brady's Bowl, now known as the Gasparilla Bowl, down in St. Petersburg. We beat Ohio, obviously, from the Mid-American Conference. So, yeah, last time we won a bowl. And the last time we beat a Power 5 team in a bowl, Dave, was way yonder back in 2000 when we beat Texas Tech in the GalleryFurniture.com Houston Bowl.
Houston.
So,
down in
21 years. Yeah, Texas Tech, 21 years since we've beaten a Power 5 team in a bowl, and we've had multiple opportunities.
Going back to Liberty Bowl, Kentucky is
Kentucky, Maryland, and Arkansas, and we just didn't get it done. Yeah. So this would be another opportunity to beat a Power 5 team in a bowl, and so we'll see what happens. By the way, for the John Laser interview, the play-by-play voice of the Hokies, go to our YouTube channel. That's Sports Objective on YouTube. If you're not watching there now, and just search John Laser, and or just scroll through our channel and you'll find it. And it's he like Dave mentions, he's going to tell you where he believes the Hokies are headed, and it ain't the Military Bowl; it's somewhere else. So if you want to find out who he thinks or where he thinks the Hokies are going to be playing, as Dave said, go check out that interview. And then also Dave and Bubba. I don't know if Matt participated or not, but they discussed with John the Hokies' new head coach.
That's right. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to all the great people watching, including, let's say hello to Craig, is saying, good morning, you crazy kids. Hey, Craig, thank you so much for participating in the show. We appreciate that very much. And the growth of our show, look where we started from to now. So appreciated that very, very much. And
yeah, and Dave, we were gonna break down the championship games.
Let's go
talk about last night's games, but we'll look forward to today's games. Start off, I think most people, our fan base, is interested in, I would hope anyway, is the American Championship game between Cincinnati and Houston. Very important for Cincinnati, and I think the entire group of five. If the Bearcats beat Houston, I guess, let's say worst case scenario happens. Let's say Alabama beats Georgia and Oklahoma State blows out Baylor. I think it's possible that Oklahoma State could squeeze Cincinnati out in that situation. But it would be a very close call. If Cincy beats Houston and Bama loses to Georgia, then it really don't matter what Oklahoma State does because Alabama's out. And as long as then in that situation, Oklahoma State and Cincy would both get in. Like I said, as long as Cincinnati is safe, as long as they handle their business, and Alabama doesn't beat Georgia, and Oklahoma State doesn't blow up Baylor. If those two things happen, and Cincy wins a nail biter to Houston, then Cincy's going to be sweating things out. Otherwise, I think Cincinnati I think they have a chance to move up to 3, and perhaps play Michigan if Michigan handles their business. And we haven't even talked about. We'll get to that one in a minute, but I'd love to see a Cincinnati-Michigan matchup. I think that'd be a lot of fun with the similarities to Ohio State, Luke Fickell's background with Ohio State. I think Cincy, Michigan in the playoffs would be a lot of fun to watch. Then you look ahead to the SEC. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have before we do that, we have a friend of ours chiming in. You're going to love this. Our good friend B. Pays is chiming in. He says, good morning, my favorite podcast. Kyle is a legend. B. Pays, by the way, we'll give him a shout out, Kyle. He's actually now in the ATL. He's going on radio, so big move for him market-wise, and congratulate. Well-deserved, my friend, and good luck to you there in the ATL in Atlanta.
Good luck down in Atlanta. I don't whatever section you're working at. There in you want to plug your station, B. Pays?
I can't remember the station. Forgive me, Pays, but I saw that this morning on Facebook.
What media group? They're all owned by media conglomerates now. So He's probably not. It's probably like whatever media that owns 25 stations, but that's typically how that works now. But yeah, is that better than me, Dave?
Yeah.
But
There it is. We put it up there for you. Uh, let's see if I can get it. There we go. OG 97.9. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So
okay.
congratulations, Pays. Another Pirate. Man, he's doing great. And he and I are about the same age. So um, he says he's still living, in Raleigh, but he's doing the show live from there. So congratulations,
Okay.
Pays.
Good deal.
That's still big time, man. Proud of you and appreciate all your hard work because that's awesome. But I want to put that in before we break in down the. I tell you what, I'm excited about that Houston Cincinnati game. And what's the line on that, guys? It was like 10.5. Is it still 10.5, or has it come down some?
When I saw it, it was 6.5. That was early on. Did it go up to 10.5? I'm not sure. I, or no, maybe it was 10.5. Maybe I'm getting my games confused. I have not looked at the lines today. B Pays, if you have the lines in front of you, if you want to post them up there on the screen, especially for that Cincinnati Houston game, that would be appreciated. I like Cincy to take care of business. I actually like them to win by a couple touchdowns.
Really?
I think Houston struggled a lot with our blitz. -10. Okay. Houston struggled a lot with our blitz. And I suspect the same. I think Cincinnati will be able to get a lot of pressure with their D line. Their secondary is elite. So I think Cincy beats Houston by a couple scores.
I think Cincy wins, but I think I would take the points. I think it's going to be a little bit closer game, but like maybe a touchdown. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to lose the game. I think they're going to win the game, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. Not by much, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do win by
Well,
14.
one thing, Houston can play defense,
Yeah.
and so if Houston comes out and Cincinnati turns the ball over something like that, I think they can make it a game. I think that game's going to be lower scoring than what people think it's going to be too. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like 28-14. Another one. Go ahead and get we'll work up to the SEC, I guess. ACC championship, regional interest with Wake Forest and Pitt. I have no idea what to make of this one.
I'm going Pitt.
I've watched both these teams play. It's in Charlotte, so I guess home field advantage to Wake. I guess Pitt may have more fans there than them. Who knows? I don't know. I think it's a toss up. What do you think, Dave?
Hold on, let me put this up here, and I'll come back to the ACC. I think this is a funny line from Pays. I hope they fed Dana's players before the game. Nice when they're nicely played. P Pays. Let me come back to that. Cincinnati and Houston's 4:00 on ABC. For me personally, I like Wake. I love Dave Clawson. I don't know. I just have it's just one of those things. Now, Pitt has been one of those teams this year that if they play it sounds cliche, but if they play their brand of football, but they haven't been the level that they could be. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if they play at that level, then I think they beat Wake. But if they, Wake is still.
They got done a good job at Pitt, and really hasn't got a lot of praise for it. He's been there a few years now. They had a lot of turnover at one point a few years back. Pittsburgh had a new head coach about every year, and he's been there for a while now and has done a good job. I think that game can go either way. I think it's a toss-up. I'm not even going to call it. I think it should be a really good game. Then, unless anybody wants to comment on that in the comments, you look ahead to the Big Ten game, Michigan, Iowa. I'm still not quite sure how Iowa is in the Big Ten championship with their offense. I'd be shocked if Michigan didn't blow them out. But I've been shocked before. You never know. Iowa can play defense, but I like Michigan big. Harbaugh does have a tendency to choke in big games. Maybe he broke that tendency by beating Ohio State last week, and will continue it and take their business against Iowa today. But on paper, I like Michigan big.
Yeah, I think that Michigan is, it's like one of those things where it's kind of like, I don't want to say their year to win it all, but as far as being in the playoff, I think, a lot of the things that people have been giving Harbaugh, maybe rightfully so, he couldn't win the big game. He beat Ohio State. He hasn't been in the playoff. I think they punched their ticket today. I'm not sure about how much they win by, but I agree with you that Iowa is not Ohio State, and it's not the teams they've been playing in the East. So I'll go with Michigan with you 100%. In fact, Pace is saying that Michigan
Sorry,
speaking.
Dave. I'm having a bit of a sneezing problem here.
No problem.
Some other go ahead, Dave. Some other conference championship games. Mid-American Conference Championship game, Kent State, Northern Illinois. Northern started off the season like a house of fire. They've won a lot of close games. They do tend to do well in pressure situations. I will say that.
Kent
Yeah,
State and
we're talking about that. I based on recent performance, I like Kent State. Now, if NIU can, if it's a close game, if it's a tight ball game, NIU has done really well in close games this year. So if it's a close game, I think NIU finds a way. But based on recent performances, I think you got to go with the golden flash of Kent State.
Yeah, I agree with you. We agree on that. We agree on that one. Kent State, I think will beat. I think NIU is like you said. I think they've been inconsistent. If they have more consistency, then they would be. Obviously, it may not be close, but go with the Kent State on that one.
Yeah, and then you look at the Big 12 championship game, Baylor, Oklahoma State. I think that's another good one. I almost want to call Baylor in the upset in that one. I think that's going to be a good game. It could be a high scoring game. Should be a fun one to watch. That's another one for me. It's tough to call a winner.
I think
I'm going to take Baylor in the upset. I think I'm going to take Baylor in the upset. And Oklahoma State. Part of me wants them to win. If Alabama loses, I want Oklahoma State to win. Because then that keeps any chance from somebody like Notre Dame to sneak in or Alabama getting it with 2 losses. So if Bama loses, I want Oklahoma State to win. Then you're going to have a playoff.
He says, I think,
yeah. And that's fine as long as Georgia beats Alabama. Then you're going to have Cincy and Oklahoma State in the playoffs.
Yep.
So I think that you'd have a playoff of Georgia, Michigan, Oklahoma State, Cincinnati. That would be a really nice change of pace. It would be something we're not used to.
Clemson. We definitely won't see Clemson.
No Alabama. Yeah. So I know Notre Dame. So
yeah.
But I'm taking Baylor, which would keep Oklahoma State out of the playoffs. So I'm gonna take Baylor in the upset.
I agree with you. I think their offense for Baylor has been very underrated. People aren't giving them, in my opinion, I don't think they're giving them the attention they deserve. Don't you think?
Yeah, they've been good. They've been good, and no, they haven't gotten a lot of attention. And that's been a Matt Rule did a great job there. And then I don't even know the guy that replaced him. He's in year 3 now, I believe. He's done a great job. Not getting much praise for it, but he's done a really good job there.
Hey, Bubba, how about Bubba plays this scenario for you? How about this? This is not what we want, but look at this, Kyle. Think about this. Baylor wins, Houston wins, Georgia wins, Iowa wins. And he said, what a cluster that becomes.
Wow. Yeah, that would be a nightmare, a huge nightmare.
But that's the way this year's been.
I'm trying to think who would make the playoffs in that point.
Georgia would still be in, don't you think?
Yeah. Georgia can lose today by 3 touchdowns in their end. Move on to the Mountain West Championship. You look at Utah State and San Diego State. What a great job by former Arkansas State head coach. God, I'm terrible with names. I just lost his name. Bubba, help me out. Utah State's head coach. Blake Anderson. Anderson done a great job at Utah State in year 1. Blake Anderson's a guy that he's a Larry Fedora disciple. In fact, UNC kind of struggled after Blake Anderson left and went to Arkansas State and under Fedora. He did a good job at Arkansas State. Blake dealt with a lot of personal tragedy while he was at Arkansas State towards the end. His wife got cancer and passed away. And then Blake had some health concerns. And Blake, I think it was time for him to move on. He needed a fresh start. And year 1 at Utah State, I believe they're 10-2, if not 9-3. And they're taking on a undefeated San Diego State team um, out in the Mountain West Championship game, and that's an important one to watch because if Cincinnati loses to Houston today, then it's going to become who's going to get the New Year's Six spot, Houston or San Diego State.
And
So that's at 3 o'clock for that one.
how about the here's one for you, Kyle.
I think let's pick the winner.
Okay.
I'm going to go another upset. I'm taking Utah State in the upset.
Wow.
By the way, how about old Brady Hoke out of San Diego State gets another head coaching opportunity and goes undefeated? Good job, Jeff Comfer. Good job, you moron.
I'm going. That's who I'm going with. I do like the job that Blake Anderson's done, but I'm going San Diego State in that one. I don't see the upset, but hey, anything. That's what's great about this time of year, right, Kyle? When you're playing in December, anything is possible. Speaking of which, here's the one that I'm going to be watching. I think this is going to be one of the entertaining games of the day. What about App State and Louisiana rematch at 3:30?
Sunbelt Championship. I believe that's in Lafayette.
That's correct.
It's hard to beat a team twice. UTSA did it to Western Kentucky last night. It is down in Lafayette. Billy Napier is going to be the head coach at San Diego State, and
what? Napier is going to be at Florida.
No, I'm sorry. Billy Napier is going to be the head coach in Florida. And, so I don't know, man. That's another one. It's tough to pick. Napier's last game. Yeah, I that's a tough one to pick, man. I really, I don't know. I would say since it's at Lafayette, I'd take Louisiana, but it would not surprise me to see App State win that game. Bubba, you know App State as well as anybody outside of App State fans. Put your type in your predictions on that game and what your thoughts are for App.
I'm going App State on that one. I don't know why. I just feel like App State will win it.
Well, I can see it. It's hard to beat them twice in 1 year.
Yeah,
and I hope they do. Because we lost to App, so it certainly looks better if they win their conference.
Yeah.
And granted, they had a bunch of 24-year-old men, and we had a very young football team. I'd like to see what would happen if we played App State today. The results might be the same, but the game would be completely different.
Oh, most definitely. I think that's what's beautiful about this Pirate team is the fact that they're peaking at the right time. They're, some teams have kind of a ceiling, early on, maybe in October, but I think this Pirate team, and the good news is we could talk about that after the conference stuff, but I Pays, let's see if I can put that up there. Pays says App State players are on AARP. They're like 26 years old, still playing.
Basically.
And Craig says he was typing the same thing. Yeah, they're those. I love that term, super seniors. I think that's hilarious. But anyway, I think the great thing about our program,
I think Cincinnati and App State's players are going to actually get together and try to find a rest home to go to together or something. I don't know. Both very senior laden things. And when we say senior laden, we actually mean they're seniors. I mean, not as in seniors as in their last year of school. I mean, they're eligible for AARP, Medicare, et cetera. They're literally seniors.
Yeah, there's not that 4 years that you have to play anymore. You can play as long as you want. They changed that rule this year.
You know what? That if we don't have a bunch of guys transfer out, we'll probably be glad of that rule here in a few years.
Yeah,
but
that actually is one good thing about COVID.
What else do we have? Let's see. Have we touched on everything outside of the SEC championship game? I think we have.
Yeah, we need to go to that one.
So the SEC championship game, Georgia, Bama. You look on paper, man, Georgia's really good. I haven't seen anybody who can come close to touching Georgia.
It's by 6.5, as Bubba said.
Yes, I haven't seen anybody come close to touching Georgia. Obviously, Nick Saban is very good in these situations. I'm going to go with Georgia just because I haven't seen anybody. And look, Bama's offense is struggling at times. Their offense struggled against Auburn last week. So I'm going to say Georgia shuts them down and takes care of business. And Saban does lose a big game, and it does happen every now and then. And Georgia doesn't choke, and they go to the playoffs as the number one team in America. The number one team in America.
I hope that you're right. Um, I hope that you're right. That's what I want to happen. I just have a bad feeling today. I hope that and for our good friend, our sister podcast, Talking Racing with Mike Ray, want to give him a shout out. If you get a chance to be like racing, listen to that podcast. He's a huge Georgia fan, so I hope for his sake and a lot of dogs fans out there that they'll get that big win and get over the hump there and get into the playoff and win the whole thing. You know, they've been waiting 41 years. So I don't have any sympathy for Alabama fans because you guys win all the time. Obviously, I'd like to see Georgia win the SEC. Like you said, Kyle, I think it's going to be a tight game, and I just have a feeling Alabama's going to win it. Just like I thought Auburn was going to win last week, and I was wrong. So maybe it's
You
reverse
didn't put a lot of
psychology.
money on that spread, though. That spread was really, I think it was like a 3-touchdown spread almost in that Alabama Auburn game last week. So if you took Auburn in the points, you could have made some nice money.
No doubt about it. I don't want to pick Alabama, but that's. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong, but that's not the way I'm feeling. Nick Saban is Nick Saban. And by the way, Kyle, I want to mention this because you're going to love this. With all these, we'll get back to. I want to mention this sidebar really fast. Did you know that Nick Saban has in his contract that he has to be at least the third highest paid coach in America, or better? And after all these big contracts, I just want to get you. That was one of the questions I had for you. What do you think that guy will make?
Well, Lincoln Riley's the highest paid now. Who's number two? Jimbo. I think Jimbo and Brian Kelly are tied.
Yeah, and
I don't know
also
what I don't know what Mel Tucker. I don't know what Saban makes. I would expect he'll be
at
at
least
95.
9 million, right? I think he was paid at one time. He was the highest at like 9 million, Bubba. And I think so. At one
I
time,
don't.
a couple
How
of years
old
ago,
is Saban? How old is Saban at this point?
he's like 67. I think I'll have to look at it again, but
I wonder how
he's
many more
late
years he
60s
can
for sure.
If they give him if they give him a 5-year extension, yeah, I don't know.
He's 70. I'm wrong. He's 70, Kyle. I just
70.
looked it
Okay,
up.
I don't know how long of an extension at this point he'll get. I don't know how many years he plans to coach. Yeah, but I would expect he'll be making very similar money to Lincoln Riley, Brian Kelly, Mel Tucker, and who are we forgetting?
It's nine. It's 9 million he's making. By the way, I just checked it. Double check I was right. So
Okay. Well, get a raise, and I hope he's all right. To me, that's ego. That's a lot of money. He's making plenty of money, and for him to have in his contract, got to be at least the third highest paid coach in America.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
To me, that's all about ego. All this crap is egos.
Exactly.
And look, I'll get on. I'll get on my high horse here in a minute, and free enterprise make money. But when these coaches get up here and go, it's all about the student athletes. God, I love these kids, and go to class and kiss my ass and everything else. And then $110 million or $95 million and who can blame anybody for leaving for those kinds of opportunities? But let's be real. What this is all about nowadays. I mean, it's all about the money. The rest of it's all bullshit. I mean, it's all about how much money you can make for most people. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. But it's funny when all these coaches say all these things and it's all about the kids and I love the kids and love and hug and family and yeah, okay.
How about this? B Pace makes a good point. If Cincinnati wins today, we get 600,000.
Yeah, exactly. That's speaking about the money, and that's why I had a conversation with somebody not long ago about how important it was to root for Cincinnati in this situation, and they make the playoffs because it's a nice paycheck for East Carolina, and 600 grand that goes towards paying Coach
Indoor
Houston's
practice
contract extension or indoor practice facility or paying off Townbank Tower. I hear we're
Jeff Comfort.
working on replacing the scoreboard and also maybe
That'll be
putting
awesome.
in some ribbon boards on Townbank Tower. So that it's funny on Hoist the Colors. Give Igo a plug there. The down payment on indoor practice facility. They were talking about the new school board and the ribbon boards, and somebody actually thought they were talking about an actual ribbon. But
Those are like at one point when the hurricanes, I know this has been probably 10, it's a lot more now, I'm sure, but at one point, 10 or 15 years ago, those ribbons cost like $2 million. So I'm sure they're way more. That was like I said, a decade or more ago. So I'm sure it's way more than that. So not a cheap proposition for sure.
yeah, no, it may not be as much, Dave. Technology typically goes down.
How about
So
that, Kyle? That's
I,
just for
you
you.
know what, I've been saying that a long time ago, Pace. Quit paying Confer and make him sue. Make his ass sue. If he wants to get the rest of his money, make him sue for it. I've said that since day one. In fact, I said quit paying him long before we fired him, or he walked, whatever.
So you're talking about March of 2018, right? That was when he left.
Yeah, I know. I
He
said
left
quit paying him
Conference
back. I said quit paying him back in back
17.
in December of 2014.
Oh
Um,
wow,
excuse me.
you're
Let me
way
change that. December of 2015 is
okay.
when I said quit playing Confer. But
Exactly.
anyway,
That would
I
be that'd be great. And going back to you, do you think we'll find? By the way, I want to give promote our shows. We'll talk a little bit more, but I want to remind fans that we have the overtime. There's a big game, and let's go ahead and put that up there today. Big game at Minges. As Pirate fans need to get out, as Bubba says to Minges, attendance for ODU was pathetic. We're 6-2, 5-0 at home. We have a solid product. Support them. And the game's today, 3 o'clock. Tim Kraft, former coach during that CIT run with Jeff Lebo, the assistant coach. He, of course, has been there since 2013 at Gardner Webb. He's coming back to Greenville, and it's going to be that team. You know, Kyle, they made the tournament a couple years ago, so it's just hard to believe that. And so go out there and please support them. That's unbelievable. The Pirates are off to a great start. And Pays, by the way, he's got another important thing. But Pays said 16 games. Pays, we're on good track for that to win 16 games in basketball this year, and we have 6 so far. So we only have 10 more to go the rest of the season, and we can get some more here in December. Why not?
yeah, I think a lot of people for basketball it needs to be proved to them first before they're going to show up. How's the student attendance been? And granted, I don't go to basketball games because basketball is just not my favorite sport. It's not. You know, I watch it casually. I follow East Carolina basketball, and I do watch it on ESPN Plus. But you know, the reason I don't go is it's just not my favorite sport. But
It's
how is
been pretty
student
good.
attendance been?
It's actually been pretty good, and I think that it will continue to be better. The biggest thing is just for the fact, like we talk about Kyle all the time, we need to build that tradition. So hopefully, we'll keep getting it done. And I will say this: don't fire Dooley. I don't think they will, but one of the things that athletic directors try to do is make their own hire. I think Dooley has done a good job, and I think that that's one thing is we need consistency with the basketball program and not like fire
There's a
your
lot of
coaches and things.
basketball to be there's a lot of basketball to be played out between now and the end of the year. So hopefully Dooley can handle that on his own and don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
I think if Hayes' predictions right, and we win 16 games. You at least extend him by a year. One thing for sure, the end of this year, you got to do something about his contract. This is year 4, so you're gonna have to extend him or let him go, one or the other. So you typically want to do a 3-year or a 5-year extension. You don't have to do that if you got a coach right around 500 and you don't think it's time just yet to extend or fire. You can't leave him sitting with 1 year, but you can extend him by 1 more year, which gives him 2 years on the contract, and that could be something we're looking at the end of the year, depending on how things play out.
By the way, it's an anniversary. There's actually I'll give you the bad anniversary first. 6 years ago today, Ruff was fired. And also today, 3 years ago, is when Mike Houston was hired. So you have the bad first. We'll take the bad first. And today is Mike Houston's 3rd anniversary as being the head coach. And things are way light years better than they were facility wise. If you saw you guys that walked through, I showed you the videos of that. It was just they did Houston wanted the media to see how bad things were, and they were bad. It was pathetic. That institutional like gray on the walls. Now they've changed that on that hallway with people that Pirates, their NFL. Houston's done a nice job of the graphics, and John Gilbert and Ryan Robinson, have to give them credit too for like that, and the Minji's and all that.
Well, it's
They've
an easy fix. I mean, to
yeah,
me, stuff like that is inexpensive. It dresses it up. It's good for recruits to see Chris Johnson, David Garrard, and Justin Hardy, etc., and Robert Jones, whoever. And it's not a lot of money, so
yeah.
why not have those graphics on the wall and stuff to spruce things up rather than concrete and drywall?
That's that's all it was, man. It was pitiful, but anyway, the Jaden Gardner, by the way, had a big game for Virginia last night. That's what Craig's talking about. Gardner has to be hyped playing in front of UVA crowds. Kyle, he scored 5 points in 56 seconds last night. So anyway, just congratulations to him. Happy for that kid, but obviously we're ECU, so we're focused on 6-2. Get out there today, this afternoon at 3 o'clock against the Pirates. It's going to be great. We're having people talk again, Kyle, so they're just joining us. Elliot is just joining us. Who, any idea? And Pays had asked that too, who we're playing in the game. He just got here.
Virginia. It sounds like that's nothing set in stone, but it sounds like it's going to be UVA. Yesterday, you can go on YouTube. There's an interview with the voice of the Hokies, Laser, and he indicated that Virginia Tech probably wouldn't be playing in the Military Bowl. That they would be selected before the Military Bowl. It sounds like there's one specific bowl that wants the Hokies. So go check out that interview and find out which one the bowl games that is. All things point to UVA, which I think in general would be a good matchup for us. But Bronco Mendenhall's last game,
They have a really good offense, and they have a good quarterback too that's been doing very, very well at UVA.
Yeah, if he's healthy. No, he's good, and they got a good offense. They struggled towards the end of the year, lost 4 in a row. But with Broncos' last game, that's a little irritating. But like I said, as far as
and if you're with Babcock, he does not want to play ECU. He's scared to play
but
us.
you know what? It's not up to him, and it's going to all depend on if they get selected before the Military Bowl or not. And if the Military Bowl wants them and they're available at that point, then that's where they're going to go. So,
Yeah.
but if they get selected before, it is what it is. UVA may get selected before. You never know. You can get surprised in these situations. It could end up being somebody like Boston College or Louisville. It could be the Tar Heels.
Yep.
But it's I remember the year we went to the Beef Brady's Bowl. That was not the bowl we were projected to go to. So you never know how these things are going to play out.
Elliot's asking what time. Elliot, they'll be made tomorrow by the latest. It might be today, but I think it'll be tomorrow.
It'll probably be tomorrow. There's a bowl selection show on one of the ESPN family networks. I don't have the time for that in front of me, but we'll try to be live when the bowl selection show is going on. You may find out something today. You may find out something tomorrow before the bowl selection shows. Lots of times these things get leaked. But if not, you'll find out tomorrow night on ESPN.
And by the way, Craig is saying for the basketball team, I really think ECU is playing much better as a team since Gardner left. Not sure if that's the reason, but I like what I'm seeing from a team standpoint. Well, I'll tell you what, there's nothing against Jaden. Obviously, the guy, we appreciate everything he did for ECU. But I will say this, as far as basketball, and we'll move on. Basketball is a game of 3-point land. I mean, you got to make 3-pointers. Jaden couldn't do that. And the offense was literally like geared towards Jaden. Nothing wrong with Jaden, but we're playing like Pace saying right now, we're playing faster. It's a more exciting brand of basketball to watch. And now we've got guys that can shoot the rock. I mean, when you have guys that are wide open, they can't make shots. When Dooley got here, we had a talent problem because we moved up to the AAC. There was no question about it.
Well, and I don't think Jaden's to blame. He's not a 3-point shooter, but that's not his game. If we'd have had 3-point shooters when he was here, then that could have been really special. But unfortunately, we didn't.
Right.
So, Jaden moved on to UVA. I wish he'd have stayed. I don't see how we're better off without him. I don't see how you're better off without
as a team. Well,
without
because
the
what they're
player.
saying is because your focus is so over focused so much on Jaden, when the
Well, no,
reality
that's
is there's a lot
coaching.
of
Well, to me, that's coaching. Why are we focused so much on Jaden? Let Jaden work his way into the offense. I mean, I don't that logic does not register in my brain. To me, that's like saying, well, you know what, Joe Montana left, and we're better off. I just it doesn't make any sense to me. But I
well, I guess we'll have
I
to see
really
how it all plays out, in the
at this
conference.
point Jaden Gardner's at UVA, so
It doesn't matter.
besides him staying healthy, I really don't care what he does.
Yeah, exactly. We will wish the best for him, but we're focused on the Pirates. Kyle, as far as the bowl is concerned, we're going to talk more about that. But what are your initial thoughts as the Pirates are starting practice? They've started practice a few days ago. Obviously, a great thing for us to have more. How about that, Kyle? We can actually talk about football as it's still going on, and not about next year. We can talk about the Pirates playing football in December.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing. I had got really sick of bowl season every year and the Pirates not being a part of it.
Yep.
So it's good to have the Pirates taking part in a bowl game and practicing going on and all that. I mean, as far as when I think about it, I think we'll have a good showing no matter who we play. Opponent does matter. Matchups matter, and like I said, if Boston College's quarterback doesn't play, if he's still out, I don't know what his situation is. Um, Boston College is not playing good football at the end of the year without him, and if they don't have him, I think whoever draws Boston College in a bowl might have a pretty easy out. Now watch, we'll get Boston College in the bowl, and the quarterback won't play, and they'll beat the snot out of us. But on paper, I think that would be our best matchup as long as that kid don't play. But I would imagine they're headed to the Fenway Bowl.
That's what I was going to ask you, is that it looks like that they would be going. It makes sense where a lot of Boston College fans can, and the fact that they're more, it's great to see
And it's the
hitting
first
in
Fenway
Boston
Bowl.
College.
It's the first Fenway Bowl, and you get the hometown team in your bowl. And sometimes you don't want the hometown team. You want people to travel. But Boston, probably not so much for Boston. Boston's not. It's not a tourist town. Boston, it doesn't rely on tourists. I mean, obviously they have tourists in Boston. There's plenty of tourist attractions, but Boston's a major metropolitan area. They don't need a good crowd for the Fenway Bowl to boost economics there.
Right.
So having the hometown team and locals coming out will probably be a good situation for them.
Elliot has a question for you right here. He says, can you go into Coach Houston's new contract? Has he signed a new contract through 2026? Has it been confirmed he's staying? As of right
Yes.
now, yes, he's staying because there's no secret. And by the way, we'll give a plug. Next Thursday night, we have the chair of the Board of Trustees, Scott Shook, who's a fan and a friend of this show, and we appreciate his transparency. We appreciate, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Elliot, because you're one of the smart. We have a lot of great listeners and viewers, but that goes without saying. But the very fact that our administration stepped up, thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that. Not only now Coach Houston will be ranked up in the, speaking in the top three. We said about Saban, he will be after the Cincinnati Houston leaves, he will be tied with Navy's coach Ken Niumatalolo. For I can't pronounce his name to save my life. I was trying hard, but Coach Ken, the two of them will be right up there. And then, as you said, Kyle, UTSA, his coach.
Yeah, UTSA's head coach will be the top paid coach in the
Yep.
American and the new American. And as of right now, Mike Houston and Coach Ken. Now I'm going to screw it up. Ken Niumatalolo. Oh my God, forget it.
Coach Ken.
Coach Ken Niumatalolo and Coach Houston will be the second highest head coaches paid in the American. Elliott, Coach Houston's contract's worth $2.3 billion a year. It is through 2026. The buyout as of right now is $2 million. What else? Any interesting details beyond that? He receives a bowl bonus if we make a bowl game starting next year of $50,000. If we make a New Year's Six bowl, I believe the bonus is $75,000.
Yep.
If we
win
make
it's 100.
it's again win if it's win it's 100. If we make the college football playoffs, the bonus I want to say is 300,000. And I believe
250.
if 250, and if we
Mhm.
win the national championship, which unfortunately isn't going to happen, he gets a $500,000 bonus. But the important notes of the contract to me are $2.3 million a year through 2026 each year, and the $50,000 bowl bonus, which is something he'll achieve hopefully most years. Now, Elliott, that does not mean that he's here through 2026. That just means that's where his contract's through. He can leave. He can still leave this year. Somebody offered the right amount of money, it's the right job. But for the short term, this year, next year, he should be in place. Normally, you don't sign that kind of contract if you intend to leave immediately. So he signed the contract, so you can assume he'll be here next year at least, and we'll see what happens. The good thing about it is, if he leaves next year or the year after, somebody's going to have to pay us $2 million to buy this
Well,
contract.
I'll tell you this right now. Uh, 2023 is going to be a very special year. A lot of these guys are going to be seniors. These young guys are getting a lot of playing time. We open up the season. A lot of people don't like those pay me games or whatever they want to call them, marquee matchups, if you will. But we open up the season in 23 in the Big House. Somehow, if you can win that game against Michigan, well, the stranger asked App State about
No,
that. They
I
did it.
mean, no, I agree. I agree. I think if we continue an upward trajectory, if next year we win eight or nine games and got a senior laden squad and coming back in 23, then who knows what can happen in the Big House. We got to get through the ball game in 22 first, but
Yeah.
who knows? But I get
Check
what
this
you're
out.
saying.
The schedule, like you said, next year, North Carolina State, Old Dominion, Campbell, and we're at BYU. And then 23, Kyle, check this out. At Michigan, you have Marshall at home, at App State, and Gardner Webb. So the next 2 years, for example, the next 2 years, the resume, if you will be good if the Pirates do well. So in other words, if they
I
have
believe that
miracle
was
season,
only if you give me that 23 schedule again, I believe that was only one Power Five opponent. So that if you win it, that's a nice win over Michigan. If we're but
yeah,
you're talking about resumes. That would equate to us doing something really special. So I'm not worried about that at this point. But we'll see what
one thing at a
happens.
time.
Yeah, exactly. But
So
we'll find out who we play in a bowl game for sure at latest by tomorrow night, and go from there.
Yeah, we have, and here's another great thing, Kyle. We have a chance, something we've talked about before. We have a chance to win 8 games. You have to go all the way back to 2014, the last time we've won 8 games or more.
And we've only done it 11 times in the last 30 years.
So there you
One eight
go.
game playoff. So I hope we can get that done. The 8-5 is 8-win seasons by East Carolina standards. I know a lot of people hate to admit it, but 8-win seasons by East Carolina standards is a special season. So if
Yeah,
you can win this bowl game, it's a really nice season.
no doubt about it. In fact, let's give another. We got a couple more minutes before we get out of here. Uh, Craig says his coaching staff loves ECU. I was on a business trip in Harrisonburg when they were at JMU. I just so happened to have to pick up a coworker at the team hotel on a Saturday morning. I was wearing a ECU pullover, and Kirkpatrick and Shankwaller stopped and shared stories of their times at ECU when they were obviously busy. They love their time there, and I can assure you they're happy to be back. And Craig, there's no question about it. I think there's, what Coach Houston talks about, Kyle, unfinished business. I think there's a lot of unfinished business. And I tell you what, don't be surprised. I've said this from day one. This guy was going to get us to New Year's Six Bowl. I didn't say it was going to be obviously in year one. We're going to win conference championships, and you never know. If Cincinnati, like you said, Kyle, if they knock the door down and we have a couple miracle seasons, then by then, hopefully, another thing to mention is the very fact of the conference. Listen to me, not conference, but the playoff expansion. It's definitely going to be 12 teams. So that they did agree on that, Kyle. So I'm very happy about that. They agreed on 12 teams for conference expansion. They have another meeting in January, so we'll keep our
Playoff
eyes on that.
expansion. Playoff expansion.
Yeah,
You keep saying conference expansion.
Well, I meant
Uh,
playoff expansion. Sorry.
yeah, they 12 teams. The question is the format. I just if it's all at larges or the four highest ranked conference champions, if they don't go five conference champions and one group of six champion, then it's still going to be a hassle to get in. I think
Yeah.
I think you'd have it happen way more often. For instance, Cincinnati, UCF would already made it in, but
Yep.
if you put that guaranteed spot of one champion from the group of five gets in automatically if they expand as well, to me that changes the game completely because you if you're a top tier team in one of the group of five conferences, which is hopefully what we're headed towards, you can really use that in recruiting. You
Oh
can
yeah.
say, hey, look, if you come to East Carolina, you're gonna have a chance to win the American, which means you're gonna have a chance to get in the playoffs. We had a better chance of winning the American than UNC or NC State does the ACC. I mean, you can tell a player that, and it's true. So if they put that rule into play where playoff expansion, we go to 12, that it's the five Power Five champions and one champion from the group of five, then six at larges. I think that's a game changer. And, you'd like to see multiple so called group of five get in, but you got one guaranteed spot. To me,
How
that's
about
a
the
huge
how about
step
the
in the right direction.
how about the top six champions?
Well, top six
Playoff.
champions would include one team from the group of five, Dave. I mean, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Technically, you could get two in, but that's never going to happen. But it's going to guarantee at least one spot from the group of five. So to me, that's just semantics. If you want to word it that way, then that's even better.
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
then technically you could get two group of five teams in. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, the good news is that Sankey is trying to be bigger than college football. And I think that eventually, even though he is the conference commissioner, I really don't have anything against him personal, but some of the things he's been saying has been so outrageous and I realize and egregious. And I know that he works for the SEC and not college football, but it actually helps us out because the other Power Five conferences are not going to allow one commissioner to make decisions for the entire college football and in this particular case, the college football playoff. I think that he needs to be really, really careful. And I know that all those guys have big egos. I get it. But just remember that college football is bigger than you. Don't ever think that you're bigger than college football. And that's the problem we have right now. But that's another show, as they say. Kyle, we got a big day today, obviously, with the Pirates playing Gardner Webb. Folks, get out there. And another thing I want to mention too is make sure you buy your bowl tickets. Go to ecupirates.com. You can also go call them if you're like me, old school. Give them a call at 1-800-ECU Monday through Friday. You can give them a call during business hours. Go ahead and we'll find out, see if we can find out how many tickets have been sold, Kyle. Obviously, next week. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah. Obviously, you want to get your tickets through ECU if you can. And see how many tickets get sold. It'll be interesting to see. I think a lot of people maybe are waiting for that bowl opponent to be announced. I think the date hurts us a little bit too. I think the 27th, as we see there on the screen, December 27th, that actually hurts a little bit because most people are going to have to hit up on the 26th, day after Christmas. I think if it was one day later, the 28th, I actually think the crowd would be a lot better. But Coach Gilbert, John Gilbert said he would be happy if we sell 5,000 through the ECU ticket office. I hope we sell a little more than that. But I think with all the people in Virginia and DC that we have in Northern Virginia, Richmond, Maryland, even down to the Tidewater, you would think that would draw a really good crowd to Annapolis.
That helps us out really big time.
And also, you got people will buy tickets through the bowl website too. So when you hear ticket sales, if our ticket sales ends up being 4,000 or 5,000 through ECU, you can probably guarantee another 2,000 to 3,000 that bought their tickets through the bowl website or somewhere else.
No doubt about it. And by the way, the big game, as we talked about in basketball, that's going to be today on ESPN Plus. Kyle, like me, we're going to be watching the game on ESPN.
The Gardner Webb Crawling Bulldogs.
Don't give them any bulletin board material. Tim Kraft is going to to hear that.
Nothing against,
Obviously,
hey, nothing against Tim Kraft and his Gardner Webb Bulldogs. I just that logo to me is terrible. The dog looks like something's wrong with him. He looks like he's got a bad back. I don't know what's going on with that bulldog, but it's a horrible logo. Update your logo.
there you go. You can sell more T-shirts, right? No
Yeah.
question about it. I'm very excited. Aren't you? We're minutes away from the college football championship Saturday. It continues, so a lot of great games. We're going to get out of here. Do you have any final thoughts, my friend?
Just looking forward to championship Saturday. Watching some of these championship games, and looking forward to find out who the Pirates are going to play in a bowl game. And I guess we'll have bowl coverage coming up here soon. I'm assuming we're going to have Pete Medhurst on. We'll have somebody over from the military bowl at some point.
A whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a website out there, visitannapolis.com. Probably be good to line up somebody from that website to give some. I'll tell you what, if you guys, real quick, there's some events surrounding the bowl game. There's a street festival on the 24th.
A parade.
Was the street festival on the 26th in downtown Annapolis from 11 a.m. I believe to 3 p.m. I believe the Budweiser Clydesdale horses are going to be there with the buggy and all that, and all kinds of food and street vendors. Then there's going to be the parade the day of the bowl game at 10 a.m. There's going to be the official military bowl tailgate, which is going to have bands and all kinds of stuff for sale. Also, downtown Annapolis, it looks like it's a very beautiful place to visit for the holidays. It looks like they make Christmas a big deal. Annapolis is a very old city, a lot of historic buildings, brick stone streets. So a lot of, if you got to sell your wife on it, just Google some pictures of Annapolis at Christmas time, and that might be a good way to sell your wife on going, because it looks like it's a very pretty old historic town to visit during the holiday season. So should be a lot of things to see and do, and maybe you want to stay in DC when you go up. And by the way, if anybody's watching this and can tell me, I've tried to find this online and I need to do a little bit more research. Is there a bus? Is there a daily tour bus that takes you from Annapolis over to DC to see the tourist attractions in DC? I am a country boy from Eastern North Carolina. My wife is also a country girl from Eastern North Carolina. We tain't interested in driving around DC. So if we could take a nice tour bus from Annapolis over to DC on the 28th, that would be great. So if anybody has that information, hook a brother up.
Yeah, and also the Metro. I'm not sure how far, guys, that gets out, but that you would be able to. That would, I know, require some walking, Kyle, but you would be able to.
Oh, man, I want a tour bus to take me from Annapolis to DC. This says, here's the Washington Monument. Now we get back on the bus. Here's the Lincoln Memorial. Now we get back on the bus. Here's the Vietnam Memorial. Now we get back on the bus. That's what I'm interested in.
It's an expensive tour bus called Uber.
Hey, you know what? I'd rather deal with that than deal with getting lost in DC. So.
That's true. There's nowhere to park at DC, so you're smart there too. And we have another a question from Elliot. What time tomorrow you'll be live? It's probably going to be tomorrow night, I'm thinking.
If you give me 1 second, Elliot, I will check what time that bowl selection show comes on. Give me 1 second. And our live broadcast will try to coincide with that. So give me 1 second here. I'm doing something real technical here. I'm turning on my television and going to my channel guide. So give me 1 second. Dave, filler content.
Well, I want to remind everybody, don't forget to, obviously, talking about that show we'll be on there, whatever time that is. Kyle's finding that out. We'll have our bowl selection show. In addition, we'll also have our playback, the overtime for the Pirates after the game today. We'll have that tomorrow as well. Scheduling conflicts, we can't do it today, so we'll definitely do it tomorrow as the Pirates are looking big. And then don't forget, ECU will be playing, I believe, Tuesday night against North Carolina A&T, and you get your tickets for that, ECUPirates.com, 1-800-ECU. We talked about the bowl, obviously, tickets as well. And then don't forget
Go ahead, Dave.
Thursday, we have Scott Shook, so make sure that you join us. He is the chair of the Board of Trustees. We appreciate Scott. He's a friend of the show. He's a fan of ECU. Obviously, he's done some great things, and We appreciate him getting the job done, along with the board of trustees. Whenever that
The
people do
college
something wrong,
the college football playoff selection show will air at 12 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Okay, now that will not announce the bowl games. That's just going to announce the playoffs. We may get the bowl announcement after that, prior to the bowl show. The bowl show will air at 8 p.m. on ESPN, or 8:30 p.m. actually on ESPN. It's
yeah,
called Championship Drive Bowl Breakdown. That's going to air at 8:30 p.m. Chances are we will probably have our bowl selection somewhere between the playoff selection at 12 p.m. and then the bowl special at 8:30 p.m. So somewhere in between that time. So we'll go live maybe tomorrow about 7 o'clock, and we should have our bowl selection in hand by then and talk about the matchup. But tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. They will be breaking down all the bowl games from 8:30 to 11. So that's going to be a significant breakdown of all the bowl games.
no doubt we'll do that. So just keep it right here. And obviously, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that'll give you notifications when we're doing things. And obviously, our Facebook page, as well as we have Facebook Live and on Twitter. You see it there on the screen for those viewers at the Sports OBJ. For our Instagram, it's at the Sports Objective. And of course, like we said, subscribe to our YouTube channel, as that is really, really growing. And we love that. And speaking of which, one more thing to promote, and we'll get out of here. We had the great play-by-play voice of the Virginia Tech Hokies, a friend of the show. He's been with us for the last couple of years. That's John Lacer, and he'll tell you where he thinks the Hokies are going to go. And be sure to watch that interview on YouTube as well. All right, Kyle, do you have anything before we go, my friend?
That's it.
All right. Until next time, you've been watching and listening to the Sports Objective. Good day, everybody. And as always, we want you to remember, go Pirates.